In the vast silence of space, a chilling message echoed across subspace channels, transmitted by the survivors of Colony Station Beta 7. They came without warning. Our defenses meant nothing. If you receive this, run, save your children. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving only static in its wake. 3 days earlier, 12-year-old Sarah watched through the station's observation deck as the first Imperial warships emerged from hyperspace, their hulls gleaming like predatory creatures against the backdrop of stars. Her father, Chief Communications Officer David Chin, had always taught her that space held both wonders and dangers, but nothing could have prepared them for what followed. The station's eye assistant had flagged unusual energy signatures at the edge of their system, but by then it was too late. The Empire's fleet had already surrounded the colony's orbital platforms, their weapons charged and shields raised. Sarah remembered her father's face turning pale as he decoded their first transmission. "Surrender your children, and the adult population will be spared." No one understood why they wanted the children. The station's council rejected their demands immediately, activating emergency protocols and evacuation procedures. But the Empire's technology far surpassed humanity's best defenses. They bypassed the security systems as if they were reading an open book. Parents fought desperately to protect their young ones. Teachers barricaded classroom doors. Security teams formed human shields around the nurseries. Sarah helped the younger kids hide in maintenance shafts and storage compartments, her heart pounding with each distant explosion that rocked the station. The Empire's soldiers moved with cold efficiency, using non-lethal weapons to incapacitate adults while collecting children with clinical precision. Their masks revealed no emotion, their movements choreographed like a terrible dance. Some claimed to hear them speaking in an unknown language, their words carrying notes of something almost like pity. As chaos erupted across multiple colonies, humanity faced an impossible choice. Fighting back meant certain death for millions, yet surrender meant losing an entire generation. The price of resistance was devastating. Beta 7 was just the first. 7 more colonies fell within days, their children taken, their parents left behind to bear witness to an unspeakable loss. But humanity's spirit proved stronger than the Empire anticipated. A hidden network of resistance formed, led by parents, soldiers, and survivors who refused to accept defeat. They discovered patterns in the Empire's movements, weaknesses in their seemingly perfect strategy. Most importantly, they found hope in the most unexpected place, the children themselves. Reports began surfacing of strange phenomena aboard Imperial vessels. Systems malfunctioned mysteriously. Navigation computers plotted impossible courses. Some claimed the captured children possessed something the Empire hadn't counted on, something that made them more than mere prisoners. Sarah's final message, smuggled out through a compromised Imperial communications array, became humanity's rallying cry. They think they're collecting slaves, but they'd captured warriors instead. We are not afraid, we are not alone, and we will find our way back home. As humanity prepares for its greatest battle, one question remains. What do the Galactic Empire want with Earth's children? The answer may determine not just the fate of the captured, but the future of our species among the stars. The resistance grows stronger each day, but time is running out. Imperial fleet movements suggest they're planning something bigger, something that could change the balance of power forever. As we stand on the brink of this cosmic conflict, one thing becomes clear. The children of Earth carry a power that even they don't fully understand, and it might be our only hope for survival. The first signs of the children's unique abilities surfaced aboard the Imperial flagship, Starweaver. Security footage, intercepted by resistance hackers, showed a group of captive 8-year-olds sitting quietly in their holding cells, eyes closed, while sophisticated electronic locks systematically failed around them. The Empire's scientists were baffled. Their tests showed nothing unusual about Earth's children, yet inexplicable events continued to multiply. Deep within the Resistance's hidden base on Mars, David Chin studied the patterns emerging from scattered reports. His daughter Sarah wasn't just surviving captivity, she was organizing. Through fragments of intercepted communications, he discovered that the captured children were developing their own silent language, passing messages through subtle gestures and expressions that their captors couldn't decode. The Empire's initial confidence began showing cracks. Their soldiers started wearing specialized dampening fields designed to block what they called anomalous mental frequencies. But these precautions came too late. Whatever power the children possessed was growing stronger, spreading like a quiet wildfire through the Imperial fleet's vast network of ships. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, proposed a stunning theory. Our children evolved on a planet with unique electromagnetic properties. She explained to the Emergency Council, the Empire's advanced technology might have inadvertently activated dormant abilities in their developing minds, abilities that even we didn't know existed. The Resistance discovered that the Empire had been watching Earth for centuries, monitoring human development from hidden outposts beyond Pluto. Their interest peaked dramatically when global satellite networks began detecting unusual brainwave patterns in children born after the last solar maximum. The Empire wasn't just collecting prisoners. They were harvesting what they believed to be the next step in human evolution. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial vessels, the children's influence continued to grow. Life support systems would mysteriously optimize themselves around their quarters. Navigation computers would make micro-adjustments, gradually bringing the fleet closer to Earth-controlled space. The Empire's commanders began rotating crews more frequently, worried about prolonged exposure to what they couldn't understand. Sarah's latest encrypted message reached the Resistance through an ingenious method, binary code hidden in the fluctuations of the ship's waste heat emissions. They're scared of us, she reported, not because of what we can do, but because of what we're becoming. We can sense each other now, across ships, across space. We're connected in a way they never expected. The Empire's desperation became evident in their changing tactics. They began constructing massive containment facilities on their outer colonies, designed to isolate smaller groups of children and limit their apparent collective abilities. But for every new restriction, the children found new ways to adapt and communicate. A breakthrough came when the Resistance decoded an Imperial transmission to their home world. The message contained a single phrase, repeated with growing urgency. The awakening was not supposed to happen here. This confirmed what many had suspected. Earth's children weren't the first to display these abilities, but they were possibly the most powerful the Empire had encountered. As humanity prepared to launch its first coordinated strike against the Empire, a new message arrived from the children. Instead of fear or desperation, it carried a tone of determined hope. They thought they were capturing Earth's future, but they've given us the stars instead. When the time comes, we'll open the doors. Be ready. The Resistance now races against time, gathering forces and allies from every corner of the solar system. The Empire's grip appears absolute, but beneath their rigid control, 800,000 young minds are quietly reaching out, touching the fabric of space itself, preparing for a moment that will change the course of human history forever. The day Earth's Resistance chose to strike began with an unexplained solar flare that knocked out the Empire's primary detection grid. At first, Imperial commanders dismissed it as a natural phenomenon until similar disruptions began cascading through their defense networks. In the command center on Mars, David Chen watched in amazement as the children's synchronized abilities created a blind spot in the Empire's seemingly impenetrable surveillance system. Sarah's latest message had been clear. When the stars dance, that's our signal. The Resistance's fleet, hidden in the asteroid belt, witnessed an extraordinary sight, streams of light connecting Imperial ships like a constellation, each point marking a vessel where Earth's children were held. The Empire's own energy systems were being transformed into a vast communication network by their young captives. The Imperial response was immediate and ruthless. They initiated emergency protocols, preparing to jump their entire fleet into hyperspace. But something unprecedented occurred. Their advanced engines refused to engage. In the chaos that followed, Imperial officers reported seeing impossible things. Solid walls becoming transparent, artificial gravity reversing in selective areas, and ship-wide systems responding to unspoken commands. Aboard the Imperial flagship, 12-year-old Sarah stood in her holding cell, eyes closed, connected to a growing web of consciousness that spanned the fleet. The children had discovered something extraordinary. The Empire's technology wasn't just susceptible to their influence. It was designed to respond to exactly the kind of mental energy they were developing. They weren't an accident. They were an awakening that the Empire had feared for millennia. Dr. Rodriguez's research team finally decoded the truth hidden in ancient imperial data streams. Humanity wasn't just another conquered species to them. We were the descendants of something they had tried to destroy long ago. Our children's abilities weren't evolving. They were remembering, accessing powers that had been buried in our genetic code since before recorded history. The Resistance fleet launched their attack just as the children began their coordinated effort. Imperial ships found their weapon systems locked, their shields fluctuating. On Earth, millions watched as the night sky lit up with extraordinary patterns of energy, a visible manifestation of the battle being waged above our planet. The Empire's commanders faced a devastating realization. Their own technological superiority had become their greatest weakness. Every system they designed to control and contain the children could be turned against them. The more they tried to suppress these abilities, the stronger the children's connection grew. Sarah led the children in what they called the unfolding, a synchronized awakening of abilities that had been dormant for generations. Through their shared consciousness, they began unlocking the Empire's most closely guarded secrets, including the true reason for their desperate harvest of Earth's children. As the Resistance ships closed in, the Imperial fleet hung suspended in space, caught in a web of energy that defied their understanding of physics. The children weren't just fighting back. They were rewriting the rules of what was possible. Each moment brought new revelations as they expanded their collective consciousness, accessing knowledge that the Empire had spent millennia trying to suppress. The Empire's last transmission to their home world was cut short. The Star Children have returned. The cycle begins ag. In that moment, as panic spread through the Imperial ranks, humanity glimpsed the true scale of what was unfolding. This wasn't just a battle for Earth's future. It was the awakening of something that would reshape the galaxy itself. Sarah's final message before the climactic moment carried both warning and promise. What comes next will change everything. The stars themselves remember who we once were, and now so do we. As the Resistance fleet moved into position, the children prepared to unleash their full potential, setting the stage for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the future of consciousness itself in the cosmos. As the Resistance fleet positioned for their final assault, a blinding light erupted from within the Imperial flagship. The children's combined consciousness had triggered something unprecedented. Ancient defense systems, hidden within Earth's moon, suddenly awakened. Massive structures began emerging from the lunar surface, revealing technology far more advanced than anything the Empire possessed. Sarah's consciousness, now linked with thousands of others, touched memories that belonged to no living human. They saw glimpses of Earth's true history, of a civilization that had once spanned galaxies, of children who could shape reality with their thoughts, and of a desperate plan to preserve these abilities by hiding them in humanity's genetic code. The Empire's real fear became clear. They hadn't come to capture Earth's children. They had come to prevent them from fully awakening. Each child they took was an attempt to control and contain in power they had spent millennia trying to suppress. But their actions had backfired spectacularly, creating the very conditions needed for these abilities to fully emerge. David Chin watched in awe as the moon's ancient defenses cast a protective field around Earth. His daughter's voice, amplified through the combined consciousness of all the captured children, echoed through every communication system. We remember the stars now. We remember why they feared us, and we remember how to set things right. A new threat emerged as Imperial reinforcements appeared at the edge of the solar system. Not warships, but planet-sized vessels that dwarfed their entire invasion fleet. These were the Empire's world engines, machines capable of reshaping entire solar systems. Their arrival revealed the Empire's desperate contingency plan. If they couldn't control Earth's awakening children, they would attempt to alter the very physics of our solar system to suppress their abilities. But the Empire had miscalculated again. The children's connection to these ancient powers had grown too strong. As the world engines approached, Sarah and the others made an astonishing discovery. These massive machines weren't weapons at all, but tools created by their ancestors, designed to awaken at exactly this moment. Dr. Rodriguez's team decoded more of the hidden history. Humanity hadn't evolved on Earth by chance. We were placed here, our abilities deliberately dormant, waiting for the right moment in cosmic time to reawaken. The Empire hadn't discovered us. They had been watching, waiting, hoping to prevent this very awakening. The children began reaching out to the world engines, their consciousness expanding to encompass these vast machines. Through their shared connection, they accessed knowledge that had been waiting millennia to be rediscovered. The Empire's own tools of suppression were becoming instruments of liberation. Sarah's next message carried both triumph and warning. They thought these machines would be our end, but they're actually our beginning. What happens next will reshape more than just our world. It will rewrite the story of every star we can see. As the children's influence spread through the world engines, the Empire's fleet found itself trapped between two impossibilities: the awakening power they had feared for millennia, and the very machines they had brought to suppress it. The Resistance watched in awe as golden energy began flowing between the moon's ancient structures and the massive world engines, forming a network of light that encompassed the entire solar system. Deep in space, other children on distant worlds began to stir, touched by the awakening happening in Earth's orbit. The Empire's worst fear was becoming reality. This wasn't just humanity's awakening, but the beginning of a galactic renaissance they had spent thousands of years trying to prevent. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of consciousness throughout the galaxy. As Sarah and the children prepared to take the next step, they sent one final message to Earth. What comes next isn't the end of our story. It's the beginning of everyone's freedom. The moment of transformation began with a single thought, shared simultaneously by 800,000 awakened children. The world engines, now under their control, began to pulse with ancient power, creating a resonance that rippled through space-time itself. The Empire's worst fears were realized as their own machines amplified the very abilities they had sought to suppress. Sarah, standing at the heart of the Imperial flagship, led the children in their final unified action. Through their shared consciousness, they activated the lunar structures, creating a bridge between Earth's past and humanity's potential. Golden light erupted from the moon's surface, forming a vast network of energy that connected every child, every ship, and every world engine in a symphony of awakened power. The Empire's commanders watched in horror as their own soldiers began dropping their weapons, touched by memories of who they once were. The truth cascaded through their ranks. They weren't the masters of advanced technology. They were the descendants of those who had chosen to forget, who had rejected the power that Earth's children now wielded with natural grace. David Chen received one last message from his daughter, but this time it carried the voice of all the children. The Empire didn't build their technology. They inherited it, just like we did. But they chose fear while we choose understanding. Watch what happens when we remember everything. The world engines began to transform, their massive structures flowing like liquid light. As the children's consciousness expanded through them, these ancient machines revealed their true purpose, not to suppress or destroy, but to restore. Each pulse of energy carried the key to unlocking dormant abilities in every human being, not just the children. But the Empire had one final card to play. Their supreme commander initiated a fail-safe protocol designed to collapse the entire solar system into a containment field. As the command spread through their network, Sarah and the children made a stunning discovery. This wasn't just about saving Earth or defeating the Empire. It was about healing a wound in the fabric of consciousness that had split the galaxy eons ago. In the space between moments, as the failsafe protocol reached its climax, the children chose not to fight but to embrace. Their collective consciousness reached out to every Imperial soldier, every commander, every ship, sharing not just power but understanding. The energy field they created didn't destroy the Empire's forces, it awakened them. The transformation swept through the solar system like a wave of light. The world engines, the lunar structures, and the Imperial fleet became conduct points for an awakening that had been planned since before recorded history. Humanity wasn't just receiving its lost heritage, it was becoming the bridge between what was lost and what could be. As the light faded and the dust settled, the Empire's ships hummed silently in space, their crews forever changed. The children, their powers now fully awakened, began the work of healing both their captors and the ancient divide that had led to this moment. Sarah's final message to Earth carried hope instead of triumph. This was never about winning a war. It was about remembering who we all really are. But in the quiet moments that followed victory, as families reunited and the galaxy seemed to hold its breath, a new signal reached Earth. From deep space, beyond the Empire's former borders, other children were awakening. Sarah and her companions shared a knowing look. Their journey wasn't ending. The Empire had been right about one thing. This would change everything. But they had been wrong about what that change would bring. As humanity stepped into its new role as guardians of awakening consciousness throughout the galaxy, the children who had started it all shared a final truth. The Empire's greatest fear hadn't been that they would lose control of humanity. Their greatest fear had been that humanity would show them a better way to live with the power they had spent millennia running from. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as Earth's children led humanity into a future where power came not from control, but from connection. The age of the Empire was over. The age of remembering had begun. In the months that followed humanity's awakening, Earth underwent a transformation more profound than anyone could have imagined. The ancient lunar structures, now fully activated, became centers of learning where both children and adults could understand their reawakened abilities. Sarah, along with other young leaders, helped establish these academies, teaching others to use their powers not for dominance, but for healing and growth. The former Imperial soldiers, their consciousness restored to what it once was, became some of humanity's most dedicated allies. They shared stories of how their civilization had chosen fear over understanding, trading their natural abilities for technological control. Their testimony helped humanity avoid the same mistakes as they grew into their recovered heritage. David Chen worked alongside Dr. Rodriguez to document this new chapter in human history. They discovered that Earth's children hadn't just defeated an empire. They had initiated a healing process that would eventually touch every corner of the galaxy. The world engines, repurposed to their original design, now orbited distant stars, awakening other sleeping worlds where children waited to remember. Perhaps the most remarkable change was how humanity handled its newfound power. Instead of building weapons or establishing their own empire, Earth's people focused on restoration. The abilities that had once inspired fear became tools for healing planetary environments, establishing harmonious connections between species, and exploring the deeper mysteries of consciousness itself. Sarah's role evolved from resistance leader to teacher and guide. She often shared her favorite observation. The Empire spent thousands of years trying to prevent something beautiful, not just the awakening of power, but the awakening of understanding. They never realized that the very thing they feared would be their salvation, too. The ancient structures on the moon revealed more of their secrets, showing humanity glimpses of their true history. A civilization that had chosen to hide its greatest gifts within its children, trusting that when the time was right, they would remember not just the power, but the wisdom to use it well. Each discovery confirmed what the children had somehow always known, that consciousness itself was meant to evolve and grow, not to be contained or controlled. As Earth established peaceful contact with other awakening worlds, a new galactic community began to form. Unlike the Empire's rigid hierarchy, this was a network of equals, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities to a greater whole. The children who had started this transformation became bridges between worlds, helping others navigate their own awakening with grace and wisdom. The story of humanity's great awakening spread across the stars, not as a tale of conquest or rebellion, but as a reminder that the universe's greatest powers often lie dormant within us, waiting for the courage to remember and the wisdom to use them well. Former imperial worlds, inspired by Earth's example, began their own journeys of remembering, guided by the very children they had once feared. David often found Sarah standing at the lunar observatories, watching the golden network of awakened worlds growing across the galaxy. During one such moment, she shared what she had learned. The Empire thought they were protecting the galaxy by controlling these abilities. But you can't control consciousness, you can only nurture it or suppress it. We chose to nurture, and look what bloomed. As this new chapter in human history unfolded, The children who had once been captives became the teachers of a profound truth, that the most powerful force in the universe isn't the ability to control or destroy, but the courage to remember who we really are and the wisdom to help others do the same. The stars shine brighter now, not with the cold light of imperial control, but with the warm glow of awakened worlds, each adding their unique light to the cosmic dance of consciousness. And so, humanity's greatest crisis became its most magnificent transformation, reminding us that sometimes the darkest moments can lead to the brightest dawns if we only have the courage to remember and imagine something better.